Hi, I'm Paul from Velo Works, and some of you may remember a recent video where I was again upgrading my lovely Brompton P6R. Well, it's back, the triangle's on. Let's see how it rides. Let's see if it's made an improvement initially. We'll do a longer term review. Come join me and Sarah for a lovely little bike ride around Bristol. So let's recap what's happened to the bike. So the bike's been away to Brilliant Bikes because it's 10 years old and it's needed some jobs a little bit beyond what I want to do on the Brompton. So it's drilling, fitting hinges, rear pivot, and I thought, well, I might as well go for a titanium rear triangle, as well as having a titanium seat post and a scroll wave spring from Thai Parts Workshop. So we've had the rear triangle installed and the rear pivot hinge and bushes replaced. Really lucky because when we took the bike or picked it up, we found out that there's only a certain amount of these, maybe 10 left, that Brompton are doing for this model, because this model's 10 years old. So I didn't know that before I purchased it. So had I waited, I potentially wouldn't have got one, or I would have had to go down another route for one. I could have got one for the P line, but there may have been some compatibility issues. The spacing would have been wider than this rear wheel. Also, we have, or they have done the hinges. So these wear over time, and mine had a little bit of play in it. So it was like, well, let's get everything done together. It's almost its 10-year anniversary, so let's give it another lease of life for 10 years. So what they've had to do here is drill out and punch out the old ones, and then they drill and ream the space where the hinge goes. So if you imagine you're taking away metal, so then you have to put in a bigger hinge. So I think I've got a 6.1 mil hinge in there. And this bike's got one more chance left. So when these wear, it's got another set of hinges that it can go in. I think they're maybe 6.3. I might get that wrong, but it's another size up. And then after then, it would have to be, I'd have to change the frame. But hopefully, this 10 years old, so fingers crossed, there's another 20 years left in the bike. Probably by then I might move on to a T-line. But at the moment, I absolutely love this bike. So, and I could, if I've done these upgrades, I could get the main frame replaced. But anyway, we'll worry about that when it happens. So yeah, job's been done really well. Super happy with the work. The only thing left to do is to go for a ride, little coffee, and then have a little bit more of a ride and see what I think. So just had a nice little coffee, having a little think about the Brompton and its new rear triangle. So I'm really happy with it. But of all my upgrades, it's the most considerable upgrade. And I'm really happy that I've had it done. If there's a few positive reasons why it saves a little bit of weight. I wouldn't say it's as noticeable as the seat post, but initially it saves a little bit of weight. We're going to do a more kind of longer term review, maybe into next year, where I'll probably do a review of the triangle long term and then think about how that works with the other upgrades I've done, the scroll wave spring and the seat post. I would say that I really like the fact that I don't have to worry about the back end now. Titanium doesn't rust. So before, you kind of have to make sure that you're keeping on top of the cleaning, especially with the raw lacquer finish. And now I don't have to worry about that. So that's quite nice to have a really robust rear end. I love the fact that I've had all the stem and the mainframe hinges done. I would say that the bike is more stiffer at the back, but not in a harsh way. It's actually kind of stiffened up, but in a very comfortable way. So it's definitely really nice. It kind of feels like it's Brompton P6R 2.0 version. So yeah, really happy with the way it's come together. I don't think there's any super downsides. I think because I haven't had the forks done and I've had a lot of weight saving at the back, obviously the balance point on the bike is very different. It's much heavier on the front now. Not that you notice when you're riding, it's actually probably quite nice because it kind of digs in, but it's got a dynamo on the front and it's got the steel forks, it's got the bigger handlebars. So I think that, so I'm just looking at it while I'm doing the video, it's just down there. So just to give me inspiration. So I think there's that to consider, whether it would be worth doing the forks in the future. Brompton don't do those forks. Well, they do the forks, but they're in black, so it look a bit silly. There are other people that do it, so potentially I could do it in the future. I'm not desperate for it. Those forks, there's nothing wrong with them at all. they don't get as battered as the other ones. So I do really like what's happened. I think the bike is just got a little bit more together. It's not as noisy as well. I don't know what that is, because it was always rattly, the rear end on this bike. Nothing major, I wasn't that bothered about it, but now that kind of has gone, so I don't know what it is that's happened that does that, but that's all for the better. So yeah, really happy with it, really happy with Brilliant Bikes. A shout out to them for doing the work, and I think it was a really nice thing to do, to give this Brompton a little bit more love. Next, I need to do the wheels. The rims are okay. They'll do a few more months, but they need to be done, so we'll do that. It probably needs the bottom bracket off and a bit of love in that area, a bit of like grease and checking all of that area. So kind of a light service. Also, when I do the wheels, it'll be new brake pads, because that, new rims, new brake pads. So we'll do a video about that, and we'll definitely do a longer term video. But I'm super loving the Brompton at the moment. I'm really happy that I've done these little bits to it. It just makes it really exciting and ticks a lot of boxes for me and how I love obsessing and loving bikes. So yeah, super happy, and we'll bring you more videos about these over the top upgrades soon. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.